18 years ago, the man who said he loved me walked out of the hospital before I could even hold our baby girl. He didn't cry, didn't say goodbye, just turned around in his $1,000 suit, handed a credit card to the nurse, and said, "Make sure she has the best room." That was Julian, cold as the snowstorm raging outside. And me, I was bleeding out on a hospital bed, clutching the child he didn't even want. I named her Nia. It means purpose, because I needed one to survive. Julian had already moved on, already drinking champagne with his new mistress in the penthouse I used to call home. He thought I was finished. That $50,000, $1,000 divorce settlement he pushed through while I was sedated. That was hush money, a goodbye kiss in the form of a check. He thought I'd disappear, but I didn't. I moved to a tiny apartment in East Baltimore with my sister and raised Nia on love and leftovers. I worked nights cleaning offices, days stocking shelves, and weekends baking for anyone who could afford a homemade pie. My law degree, forgotten. My dreams, delayed, not destroyed. Nia grew up quiet, but intense. She didn't play pretend she cross-examined her dolls. At 7, she asked why her father never came around. I told her. Presence makes a father, not biology. She looked at me with those sharp brown eyes and said, "He left because I'm a girl, didn't he?" I couldn't lie. She already knew. By 12, Nia was out debating high school seniors. At 15, she got a full ride to Columbia. By 17, she was interning at one of the most prestigious law firms in New York under a partner named Gabriel. She never mentioned her last name. She didn't need to. Her work spoke volumes. Then one day she came home late and said, "Mama, do you remember the $10 million Grandpa left us?" My heart stopped. That money had vanished the week Julian left me. I'd been too weak, too trusting back then. I never even fought for it. She said, "I found it. He hid it in shell companies offshore, and I can prove it." That's when I realized my daughter wasn't just brilliant. She was ready. It all came to a head in courtroom 5B on a Tuesday morning. Julian had finally been served divorce papers by Morgana, the woman he left me for. Turns out she'd had enough of his mistresses, his lies, and his secrets. She came to Nia for help. Funny how the world turns. Julian walked in that courtroom smirking, thinking it was just another prenup battle. He didn't even glance at the young black woman sitting behind the plaintiff's desk, flipping through forensic audits. Until the judge said, "Miss Ellis, please present your findings." He turned and froze. She had his mother's cheekbones, my eyes, his jawline, his past staring him in the face. He whispered, "Nia." She didn't flinch, just clicked her remote and brought up the mineral rights documents. The forged power of attorney, the hospital timestamp proving I was unconscious when he acquired my inheritance, emails where he mocked me, calling me too dumb to notice. He'd stolen from under me. The room went silent. Then Nia said, every dollar he used to build his pharmaceutical empire was stolen. Every drug patent funded by blood money. Julian tried to object. The judge shut him down. Gabriel backed her up. And then the doors opened and the FBI walked in. Wire fraud, tax evasion, price fixing, organ trafficking. Even I hadn't known the full extent of his crimes. But my daughter did. She'd spent years preparing for this quietly, methodically, with the patience of a storm waiting to break. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get more surreal, another figure entered the room, a young man in military dress. Asher, Julian's son. Except he wasn't. The blood tests proved it. Morgana admitted it. Julian had abandoned his real child Nia for a boy that wasn't even his. And now that boy stood up, looked Julian in the eye, and said, "Everything I've built, I'm giving to Naya's foundation. She deserves it. You never did." Julian lost it, started screaming, accusing, threatening, called Naya a liar, said she was just like him. She smiled that quiet, dangerous smile she got from me and said, "No, Julian, I'm like my mother, and that's exactly why you lost." That day the court stripped him of everything, his money, his company, his name, all transferred to the victims he profited from. The insulin patients who died because they couldn't afford his drugs, the families he bankrupted, and the two women he tried to erase, me and Nia, now stood at the center of it all. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Reporters swarmed. They asked Nia what she wanted to do next. She said, "I want to make insulin affordable. I want to help women like my mom find the money their husbands tried to hide. I want to make sure no little girl is ever told she's less because she was born female." And then she looked at me and said, "We're not done yet, Mama. Now we build something better." Julian sits in prison now, alone, powerless, forgotten. But us, we wear the name he tried to bury, not as shame, but as a banner. We are the daughters of resilience, the mothers of justice, and the architects of our own empire. Now tell me, if you had been in that courtroom, would you have cheered or would you have looked away? Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever seen someone rise from the ashes? Do you believe justice delayed is still justice served? Like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, sometimes the best revenge is building a life they can't ignore. 18 years ago, the man who said he loved me walked out of the hospital before I could even hold our baby girl. He didn't cry, didn't say goodbye, just turned around in his $1,000 suit, handed a credit card to the nurse, and said, "Make sure she has the best room." That was Julian, cold as the snowstorm raging outside. And me, I was bleeding out on a hospital bed, clutching the child he didn't even want. I named her Nia. It means purpose, because I needed one to survive. Julian had already moved on, already drinking champagne with his new mistress in the penthouse I used to call home. He thought I was finished. That $50,000, $1,000 divorce settlement he pushed through while I was sedated, that was hush money, a goodbye kiss in the form of a check. He thought I'd disappear, but I didn't. I moved to a tiny apartment in East Baltimore with my sister and raised Nia on love and leftovers. I worked nights cleaning off